Okay, everybody, I appreciate everybody being here this morning, and we're going to get just started. Joe Gibbs, Kyle Busch. We're going to just start with some opening remarks. Joe?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that hopefully we're able to convey our feelings this morning in the right way. It's really important to us. I want to say, first of all, how proud I am of our sponsors. When you think about Mars, Interstate, Toyota, we got great partners. And in particular, this morning, I want to mention that Mars is one of the premier companies in America. They've been 19 years in racing, great supporters of racing. They've been great partners for us. And the 4 years we've been together, we've developed strong relationships and I think a great partnership. The actions last week don't reflect Mars's values. And as a consequence, they've asked Kyle not to drive the M&M's car in 2012. I mean, 2011. We'll come back in 2012, and that's important. I made a mistake there. That's for the 2 races this year. Kyle wouldn't drive the M&M's car. Going forward next year, we're all set and plan to have a long future in racing. The number 18 will not have the Mars paint scheme for these next 2 races. We support this decision with the race team, and we're also proud of Interstate Batteries. As you all know, they've been our founding sponsor, been with us for 20 years, and they will take over the paint scheme on the car for the next 2 races here. And I really appreciate also the way Mars and Interstate have worked together in a partnership for these last 4 years. It's been a great partnership, and I appreciate the way they work together. Kyle's penalties are going to be substantial. If you think about it, NASCAR taking him out of the car last week, there's also a fine associated with that. But the biggest thing for everybody on the 18 car was we went from 7th in points in the chase to 11th. That's a huge deal. I know Kyle, all of us were excited about getting back in the top 5, and that'll probably take this away from us, and we understand that, but I'm just emphasizing that that was a big deal for us. We understood that, but it was a big deal. We also have other actions that are going to be in place. There'll be other financial penalties and stuff that we're working through, and we'll continue to do that as we go forward through this process. I think for me personally, I just want to make the point that when you're put in a situation like this, you know, you really can make 1 or 2 decisions. I think the one would have been devastating, really, I think really discouraging for everybody associated with it, Kyle, everybody around him, and for the sport. What I've chosen to do, I want to support Kyle, and I feel like that this could have a positive impact on Kyle, and I'm committed to him as a person. I like him. We've gone through a lot together, and as far as us and Joe Gibbs Racing, we're looking forward to a long relationship. That's pretty much what I'd like to say.
Yeah, Kyle.
Yeah, first of all, obviously this has been quite a trying week for myself and my wife and everybody at M&M's, Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch Motorsports, Interstate Batteries, all of the above. So for me, I'm utmost apologetic to everybody that's been having to go through this situation. And there's no one to blame but myself. So I'm here today to basically say that, I apologize to everybody involved in this whole ordeal. Joe has been a huge supporter of mine through all of this, and I can't say enough about him, all the folks at JGR, all the guys on my M&M's team, and we're here to say that we want to learn from this. We want to move on, and certainly there's some remorse from my side, and to be apologetic to the M&M's brand and all of those folks that have put their heart and soul into this NASCAR program for years, and we want to continue that relationship down the road. There's an opportunity for me to become a better person, to grow, to learn from this, and I'm looking forward to those days, and knowing that I'm sure I have lost some respect with my team, with my sponsors, with my peers, and I understand those consequences. I understand my actions last weekend were uncalled for, were disrespectful, and that I'm here to make sure that I can continue on in a positive manner and make it to where everybody believes in me from this week forward. So that's about it.
Okay, we can open it up to some questions. We got microphones here. Bill, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Joe, when did all the decisions come down with Mars and M&M's? Because it just seemed back and forth all week. And what kind of demands did they put on Kyle going forward?
I think it was strictly a partnership, and you're right. It was there. This was a big process. There were a lot of things to go through, and I think it was a matter of just walking through them. I thought both of us, Mars and the race team, like I mentioned, a great partnership. There were a lot of things to consider, and I think it took a while for us to kind of walk through all that. I think we did it in a real partnership and a great way, and I think we reached the right conclusions. But it took us a while to do that.
Bruce Martin, SI.com. Kyle, just if you could describe how, since the incident on Friday, how much soul searching you've kind of had to do, and some of the steps that you want to take place to ensure that a situation like that never happens again.
Well, it's like I mentioned before, it's certainly been a trying week, and this has been a situation where I never could have dreamed could happen, and I don't wish it upon anybody. And so for me, certainly I've had a lot of time to sit and reflect and think and decide and look at what the future entails. And so for me, my future, I want to be with Joe Gibbs Racing. I want to be in NASCAR. I want to be driving, the M&M's Toyota. So for all of that to work out and to work together, certainly it's going to be, through a lot of my efforts and my efforts behaviorally. And so, I've got a strong path ahead that I'm excited about and looking forward to, in learning and growing. And understanding that, the ground that I've made this year has been awesome. And obviously there was a moment that took away from all of that. But I'm certainly not opposed to continuing that growth pattern.
I would like to add to that I watched Kyle. We've been, in the partnership here. And I'd say over the last year, I know from being there, the effort he's made. And I think Kyle, everything from his marriage to Sam and everything else that we've had a chance to go through and watch him, I really think he's, made great strides in a lot of ways. It's just, this is a shame that this, we took a step back here.
I think Nate, you had the mic.
Yeah, Nate Ryan, USA Today. Joe, you alluded to some consequences from Kyle from a financial perspective. Along those lines, are you offering a refund to Mars for the last 2 races of the season? And as a result, are you changing or reducing Kyle's compensation to accommodate that? And is Interstate, how are they going to be paying for these last races?
I think all of that is an internal thing that, we're not going to discuss. But I think, we've taken our appropriate actions there. We all talked it over, know what we're going to do. but it's not something I think, we need to discuss.
Michael Knight, Arizona Republic, for both Kyle and Joe. Are you confident that coming out of this experience that you can adjust your mental approach and what you do on the racetrack to still be a winning driver?
I think, for me personally, we expect Kyle, Kyle, we think is a great driver. I think he's gifted, and this situation is totally different than that. We're talking about an action or something here but when it comes to driving a race car, we want him to drive the race car. I know Mars does too. We want him to drive it the way he's capable of driving it. We think he's one of the gifted people when it comes to just being an athlete and doing the things he do, and we expect him to drive the car that way and be himself.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt that anybody was wanting me or saying that I needed to change on the racetrack. There's a fact that there's things that go on the racetrack that make you competitive, that give you that spirit, that will to win. And some days when a bad decision's made, it deters from that. So, obviously there's more behavioral issues than there is competitive issues, and that's what I think that's what we'll build on.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. Kyle, 2 questions. Have you had any contact with Ron Hornaday Jr. and or Kevin Harvick about this matter? And I'll have a follow-up after that.
I have had conversations with Ron Hornaday. I called him, I don't remember what day it was, but it was within a day or two of the incident. And so, yeah, we had a discussion, a conversation that, ended well. We hung up, and, I'm still invited over to the house to stay on the couch if I need, so that's good.
My second question is in relation to the penalty that Mars has implemented, your response from the other drivers in the garage. Obviously, we've seen some take to Twitter. What have you heard from some of those guys about this penalty?
You know what the great thing about Twitter is you can also turn it off. So I haven't been on. I haven't paid any attention.
Some of that was positive, though. Some of those comments were positive in your favor.
Well, that's great, and I do appreciate that. There's certainly it's a tough situation for me to be involved in, but there's no one to blame but myself. So for some people, some competitors out there that have stuck their head out there and have maybe been supportive of this whole deal, that's awesome. I can't say enough, but I do know that I do have friends out there on the racetrack. I do know that there's people on the racetrack that I can trust, that I can race around, that still do respect me. And there's a few others that maybe not, and certainly those are of those people when you're racing around them on the racetrack. So you're conscious of all of that. But any support that I've been getting this week has been tremendous because it like Joe said, it's given me a future and a bright future.